Hey there, my name's Curtis Lucas, and you're watching Empire Building. So it's nice to see that the tides have finally turned. When I went to start recording this, Mara was up a little over 20%. It certainly pulled back some since it tried to breach its former high that it formed on December 22nd, but we're certainly headed in the right direction. Bitcoin continues to show strength with no signs that this rally is over. Even BitDigital, which had a pretty significant sell-off at the beginning of the day, had completely recovered and was up 2.5% when I left to record this video. But of course, the darling of the group is yet again Argo. Many have rightly pointed out that Argo is hilariously undervalued when compared to its peers. And I do think a lot of that has to do with it being on the London exchange, which very few US participants have access to. It has begun trading on the OTC market, but for that reason, I can't trade with it in my tax-free savings account here in Canada. It would be great to see them actually get a direct listing, but who knows? Another one of my favorites in this space is Hive blockchain. It was the very first crypto mining stock that I ever purchased. I always loved that they mined Ethereum, which is the most profitable cryptocurrency coin to mine. Even more profitable than Bitcoin when you look at it as a function of power. And things are getting very interesting in that regard with Ethereum now. You see, miners don't just get paid in block rewards. For Ethereum currently, the base reward for mining a block is 2 ETH. But depending on the transaction fees of all the transactions contained within that block, miners are also paid the sum of all those transaction fees. And right now, Ethereum transaction fees are spiking, approaching all-time highs. Here's an example of a block mined about a month ago. Total transaction fees for this block were 0.2395 ETH, just under a quarter of 1 ETH. And of course, at that time, Ethereum was quite substantially cheaper. Yesterday, a block was mined that had a total transaction fee reward of 6.32 ETH. Just in terms of actual Ethereum, that's already 4 times as much as the base reward. Never mind that Ethereum is worth 50% more today. This is going to have a massive impact on the performance of Hive's balance sheet. This effect is also going to be felt among the Bitcoin mining companies as well, though not quite to the same extent. Ethereum is renowned for its extremely high transaction fees. It's one of the things that critics of Ethereum use against the protocol. And it's a valid criticism. But in my opinion, this space still has a lot of time to grow, and it's extremely difficult for any of these other Ethereum killers to really compete with the network effect that Ethereum currently has, surpassed only by Bitcoin. But there's something else that happened today that I think is quite profound. Marathon Patent announced that it had entered into a non-binding memorandum with DMG Blockchain Solutions to launch what they're calling the Digital Currency Miners of North America. This would be North America's first cryptocurrency mining pool. Marathon Patent Group and DMG Blockchain Solutions have entered into a non-binding memorandum of understanding to form Digital Currency Miners of North America, DCMNA, which will be a US-based nonprofit entity whose mission is to create a better mining environment for North American miners to help improve their financial performance and to create North America's first cooperative mining pool. Marathon Patent Group and DMG's US subsidiary, Blockseer, are working together to establish DCMNA, a nonprofit entity focused on North American digital currency opportunities, including decentralizing the Bitcoin hash rate and providing more transparency for North American miners. DCMNA's principal initiative is to create North America's first cooperative mining pool by licensing Blockseer's mining pool to all DCMNA members in a cooperative structure. Mining partners who are members will receive rebates based on the hash rate they contribute to the overall pool, thus improving the mining profitability of DCMNA members. As a founding member of DCMNA and one of North America's largest enterprise Bitcoin mining companies, Marathon will put all of its mining hash rate, equivalent to 10.36 exahash, or 7.6 of the total Bitcoin network's hash rate, if all miners were deployed today at current levels, into the pool. Benefits of the mining pool include, but are not limited to, profit sharing, whereas miners receive rebates based on their contributed hash rate, Increased transparency for all financial information will be audited by a third-party US-based financial audit firm. Lobbying efforts to improve the policies and regulatory environment in North America for miners. Clean block mining that adheres to the Office of Foreign Asset Control's compliance standards and reduces the risk of mining blocks that include transactions linked to nefarious activities. Now, this last part I do have a little bit of mixed feelings about. One of the things that blockchain offers that I believe is a strength is the trustless, permissionless, decentralized model. It's not up for the miners to decide which transactions are approved and which ones are not. The miner's job is simply to confirm whether or not the transaction was valid. But it is possible for miners to select which transactions they want to include or not to include. It doesn't mean that they can reject transactions. Those transactions would simply have to wait for the next block. So yes, this is certainly possible. And on the other hand, it does provide for some certain assurances to these publicly traded companies that they're not going to be attacked by regulators for having possibly confirmed and allowed transactions that may have financed terror activities or anything else that the government considers unfavorable. But they certainly cannot stop those transactions from taking place. It simply provides these organizations with a certain level of protection should certain government agencies decide to crack down on this sort of thing. So being someone who is a little bit more risk averse, I'm actually okay with this. Let's keep reading. DCM&A is focused on increasing transparency, trust, and accountability in the emerging mining industry, particularly as more institutions embrace Bitcoin as a store of value. Unlike other Bitcoin mining pools, Blockseer's pool will be audited by an independent auditing firm, ensuring that miners receive accurate rewards and auditors and regulators can trust the data provided. Using DMG's proprietary patent-pending technologies, the pool will also create transaction blocks that specifically omit any transactions deemed risky by Wallet Score and by which may not meet OFAC's standards. As a result, North American miners who are DCM&A members will reduce the risk of the blocks they mine containing transactions tied to criminal or terrorist-related activities. DCM&A will also act as a unified group to lobby government bodies and regulators on behalf of its membership. The organization will be governed by its mining members, while Marathon's executive chairman, Merrick Okamoto, will serve as DCM&A's inaugural chairman. A membership committee will also be formed to develop and regulate DCM&A's operations and investments in North American digital currency mining issues, which will be identified by its membership. So all in all, I think this is fantastic. And I fully expect that all publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies will probably jump on board. The beauty of this technology is that they don't have to be adversarial with one another. The whole point of mining is that they cooperate. It's mutually beneficial for them to. And frankly, this is a pretty significant problem that we face in the crypto mining sector. Far too many of the pools in Bitcoin mining are centralized in China. It's estimated that as much as 81% of all the hash rate throughout all the pools mining on Bitcoin are centralized in China. Now, that doesn't mean that's where the miners are. It simply means that the pools which a miner connects to are operated out of China. The miners themselves can be decentralized all over the world, but they connect to pools from China. Currently, to my knowledge, there are no pools available that are centralized here in North America. This would be the first. And by getting a large player like Mara to jump on board first, will certainly send the signal for others to follow. I've said this before, cryptocurrency mining, especially for Bitcoin, is going to be viewed as an essential infrastructure in the years to come. Every nation is going to want to make sure that they're represented on the blockchain. And since, yes, it is truly decentralized, these miners will have the ability to choose which pools they want to mine in. They can disconnect and reconnect somewhere else like that. However, I did have a look at this pool that's been set up by DMG Blockchain. And this pool is very different from most others. In order to join the pool, you have to go through their KYC process. So you cannot mine anonymously. It's unclear what, if any, other requirements they might have in order for members to join. But the reality is that Bitcoin is not as anonymous as some people might believe it is. With the data mining technologies that we have today, it's not that hard to connect an individual to a wallet that they might have control of. And since all transactions are public, it's extremely easy to trace those transactions. If you wanted to maintain that anonymity, it is theoretically possible, though extremely difficult, and would require an enormous amount of sacrifice on your part. You'd have to give up a lot of your abilities that we've become so comfortable with. Every time you hit accept on a user agreement, you give up some of that anonymity. So me personally, I don't have a huge problem with this, and clearly the largest portion of the world's population agrees with that. But if that is something that's extremely important to you, this technology still does provide you options. But as I said, to maintain that, you're going to have to give up a lot of the freedoms that you enjoy. I know what I'm talking about now is probably going over most people's heads. I know most people just want to hear about the stocks and how much they're going to go up tomorrow. But as I keep saying, education is extremely important. So every now and then, rather than devoting individual videos to just Bitcoin and its technology, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of knowledge here and there throughout the videos as I make them. I hope that's okay. That way you can absorb this information a little slower, and as time goes on, you'll all become experts. But all of these things are direct signals that this space is starting to mature. Bitcoin is not the wild horse it once was. Not everyone will welcome these kinds of developments, but the reality is, if this space is going to grow and true adoption is going to be recognized, everyone is going to try to impose their will on this technology. But the beauty of it is, no matter what governments or institutions or agencies decide they want to do to try to impose their will, they don't have supreme control. Not anymore. All the users of this technology have their own say. Think of it like a decentralized democracy with no leader. But what I do like to see is that Mara has decided to step up to the plate and start to build real-world tools to make the space better for all North American miners, giving all of them a viable alternative than to just link up with these leading Chinese pools. And of course, having the side benefit of paying less in pool fees is certainly going to help their bottom line. We are tremendously proud to lead the launch of the DCMNA nonprofit organization, whose first mandate is to bring its members a vast improvement in mining pool operations by licensing the Block Seeker pool to serve our North American mining members, said Marathon's executive chairman, Marek Okamoto. To date, companies such as ours have relied on pools primarily based in Asia to connect to the Bitcoin network, and we have been frustrated by the lack of transparency and audited data. Marathon has been a leader both in terms of market capitalization and also in terms of lobbying regulators on behalf of our industry, and we look forward to working diligently to build the capabilities of DCMNA on behalf of our mining partners and DCMNA's new members. Dan Rietzik, DMG's CEO, added, "It's an honor to work with Marathon to establish the DCMNA and provide the technological components for the DCMNA organization. When DMG acquired Dayton, the parent of Blockseeker, in 2018, our intention was to create solutions that would benefit our industry as a whole and increase trust in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Mining is a unique industry in that miners do not necessarily compete with one another for customers or contracts, but instead work together to secure the blockchain on which Bitcoin transactions are processed. It simply makes sense to amalgamate North American miners toward common goals. And the Blockseeker pool is the ideal way in which to lead this process in a safe, transparent, and compliant way." So really, this could be viewed as a win for all publicly traded blockchain companies. One of the potential risks that they have all faced is regulatory uncertainty. Having a lobbying group within this space could help alleviate a lot of those concerns. So I hope you got some value out of this, and if you did, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank everybody for their support. The channel has been growing extremely fast lately. This is a direct result of you engaging with the channel, commenting down below, hitting the like button. It has not gone unnoticed. I am working as hard as I can to bring you as much content as I can, but I want to make sure that it's always valuable content that's not just going to waste your time. I'm not just here to talk your ear off, telling you things you already know. But of course, occasionally, I'm going to try and have a little bit of fun. That's all for this one. Now let's get back to empire building. Bye.